Alright, welcome back to another lesson on others. Today we are talking about an interesting skill called guess and check. So before we start the lesson, as guess and check suggests, in guess and check questions, what I want to do is actually guess the answer. Instead of using a proper technique, we guess the answer. And then using information provided by the question itself, we can check whether our answers are correct. And that's quite cool because if we do it properly, it's actually a guaranteed mark for us. So, how do you identify guess and check questions if you want to get the secured mark? So first, in guess and check questions specifically, two items will appear in the question where there's a specific total. So this is our condition one. So let's say there is 20 cent coins and 50 cent coins in total. So two items and they give a total number of them. And sometimes there may even be three items if the examiners want to make the question hard. And next thing you need to know is that each item results in a certain quantity. Like 20 cent coin gives you 20 cents of value, and 50 cent coins give 50 cents of value. And the two quantities add up to another specific total, which is our condition 2. So let's say in total from the 20 cent and 50 cent coins we have altogether, they give $5. Let's say And the last thing they will want us to do, which is usually the end question for the guess and check questions, is basically to find the number of one or both items. So out of the 20 cent and 50 cent coins, how many 20 cent coins are there? How many 50 cent coins are there? And next we talk about a very interesting thing, which is when to use guess and check. So actually one part very obviously is when the question tells you that it's a guess and check question. So usually for guess and check questions, right, you can also use two other methods, which I'll also be covering in future videos. One is called assumption, which is another way, a substitute for guess and check. And you can also use this thing called simultaneous equations for more advanced learners of algebra. Or another interesting thing about guess and check is that sometimes I also use it when I face this type of scenario. Is that when actually there's a advanced application of another concept like decimals, percentages, or algebra, then I suddenly cannot remember how to do it. So I can actually sometimes I can use guess and check to to guess my answer. Actually check if the information allows to get my answer. So now we look at an example and we go through the approach on how to actually solve this guess and check question. So in the farm, there are chickens and cows. There is a total of 15 heads and 42 legs. How many chickens and cows are there? So as you can see, what we need as our end goal is to find the number of cows and the number of chickens. So how do we do this step by step? So first, before writing anything down, what do we need to process? The information and conditions. So we look at this question and then we think to ourselves, there are 15 heads. Usually animals got how many heads? So obviously normal animals only got one head, unless you are talking about a dragon or something. So in this case, chickens and cows only got one head each. So there's total of 15 animals, and that's our condition 1. And what's our condition 2? The total number of legs. So we need to think about how many legs there are for each animal. So chicken have 2 legs, cow have 4 legs, and in total they give 42 legs out of the 15 chickens and cows. So that's a condition 2. And now that we have our conditions and information sorted out, we need to draw the table to guess and check our answers. So this is usually how a table looks like. We add the headings and the check sign to see whether it's correct or we want to recheck the answer. So first, number of chickens, and the number of legs resulted from the number of chickens. Number of cows, number of legs resulted from the number of cows, and the total number of legs. So how do we start guessing? For me, I like to use nicer looking numbers, usually numbers of multiples of 5 or 10. So this one I start with 10. So 10 chickens which will have 20 legs. So this another thing that we need to know is that obviously if there are 15 heads and I have 10 chickens, the other 5 will come from cows. So 5 cows will give us 20 legs, and in total we have 20 plus 20 which is 40 legs, which is just short of 2 legs. So obviously our answer cannot be accepted. And let's say this time around I want to have more cows and less chickens. So I change my answer, maybe 5 chickens, and number of legs from 5 chickens is 10, and number of cows will be 15 minus 5 equals to 10, and number of legs from the cows will be 10 times 4 equals to 40, which is not looking very good, and our total we overshot by 8 legs. So let's say you guess, and finally you come to the answer that looks the most legit. Number of chickens we guess 9, so number of legs we have 9 times 2 equals to 18, and number of cows 15 minus 9 equals to 6, and now number of legs from the cows 6 times 4 equals to 24, and 18 plus 24 gives us 42, and with that we get our answer finally. And obviously don't forget your statement. So there are 9 chickens and 6 cows, and with that we have solved a very interesting question, I would say, because when you look at it, it looks like no method that we have learned before can solve this question. What model method and what ratio method? There's no ratio or what. So that's the beauty of guess and check. But in the next video, I'll also be talking about why some people don't choose guess and check, and why some people prefer this method called assumption. So stay tuned for that.